Yeah, live action remake of Snow White was steeped in controversy from the word go. Least of all, what happened was they cast an actress, well, a Latino actress, to play Snow White. I know in this day and age of wokeism and progressivism, all the giggies and what's trending is trying to what they call diverse casts, but to me it just seems like it's not actually a diverse cast that they're after. It's more like swapping. I mean, Snow White was like a Grimm's fairy tale all the way back then, from hundreds of years ago. And it was from Germany, and Snow White was a German princess. And as the line goes, if everyone remembers, hair as black as ebony, lips as red as blood, and skin as white as snow. Hence her name, Snow White. And the story and the name of the fairy tale is Snow White. Now, Rachel Zegler is a Latino. Okay, I think her father might have been Polish, which hence the surname Zegler. But her mother was a Colombian, and from looking at her, she actually looks Latino and darker skin rather than the white Polish from her father. I know, with mixed people and mixed race people, they either go directly into the middle in terms of appearances or lean more towards one parent side than the other. And I guess with Rachel Zegler, she leaned more to, from the looks of it, at least she looks more and leans more to the Latino side. And so that casting alone, when she was cast, sparked heaps of controversy, because it's one thing when they replace like the Little Mermaid, did a live action one with a black actress. Okay, there's controversy about that because the original is a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, and the brothers were were Danish back then, so expect it would be white. And when they did the movie The Little Mermaid with Ariel, it was a white mermaid with red hair. When they cast the movie for The Little Mermaid, it was Hailey Bailey, who was a black American actress. And that was heaps of controversy, though it was not directed at Hailey at all, because she just happened to be cast in that. It wasn't her fault at all. And she was very gracious about it and just did a role and went about her business. But all the anger and the flack, I guess, was directed at the producers, namely Disney as well, for race swapping in that movie. However, with Snow White, it's a little different. Besides the actual name, it's Snow White. You expect the skin, the cast and actress to be that. I mean, to look like Snow White, or at least how we perceive Snow White, because it's in the name. The skin isn't as white as snow. That's why it has that name. And she is brown, I'm saying. So the joke is it's not Snow White, it's Snow Brown. And they want us to suspend disbelief and just think, imagine her skin is white as snow, hence the name. Okay, even though she is brown. I mean, look, you're never going to cast people that look directly like the character. Back then, Hollywood has been guilty of race swapping in the past, namely by whitewashing. Like, I remember, those westerns in the 1950s or 60s, whatever, they had white actors browning themselves and playing Native American roles, and so to speak. And even older Hollywood movies set in, say, in Asia, China, like The Good Earth, the main characters were white and they just had Asianized makeup and pretended to be Chinese, and we all had to go along with it, and that was a bit, yeah. So Now they seems to have swapped the other way, and I don't agree with it. It's not like suspending belief. Like, it's okay, you might have an American with a bit of makeup playing, say, a Russian person, that sort of thing. But to have asked us to suspend disbelief, say, casting, say, Danny DeVito in the role of Prince Charming, and asking us to suspend belief and watch it as if you're watching a young, handsome prince coming to the rescue that's played by Danny DeVito. As in, come on, you just ruined the movie from the get-go. It's this sort of thing. The same thing when they cast a black actress, Jodie, I think, Turner-Smith, a black British actress as Anne Boleyn. I was thinking, no, come on, it's just suspending disbelief. And I guess the left side was saying that, oh, okay, but you never really know what she looked like. And some of the description she looked like was described her as olive complexion. But hey, even if we don't have a true painting of Anne Boleyn, one having an olive complexion and bearing a dark brown complexion, like in the case of Jodie Turner-Smith, it's two very different things, very out there. But also, even if we have no known portraits of Anne Boleyn, all we have to do is look at her daughter, Queen Elizabeth I, which was pale as anything. She was a redhead and very pale, and there's numerous paintings of Queen Elizabeth I, which no one disputes that it's authentic. And they all show her in the same sphere, a redhead with almost white skin. And so her mother could not have been black or brown, simply because you look at her daughter. So that's something, race swapping, I don't agree with, in that when we watch a movie, especially a historical movie or drama set in certain places, we want to actually look at it and see that it's believable. You know what I mean? And not have to suspend our disbelief and seeing a black person back in medieval or Tudor times in England, that's saying part of royalty, which it wasn't. And it's just like trying to get us to buy that Danny DeVito is a handsome young prince because he's playing that role. Now, come on. It doesn't work. I don't know. It seems to be some type of agenda. I mean, from what I understand, Disney lost quite a bit of money with The Little Mermaid. I think the total loss was $150 million because people were put off watching the movie because they had race swapped the main character, The Little Mermaid, black rather being a redhead white. Because people, especially little girls and children, go in expecting, we're going to see live action of The Little Mermaid. And in their mind, they watch the cartoon, the animated cartoon of The Little Mermaid, and that's not it. It doesn't gel. And I remember seeing a little clip on, I don't know if it's TikTok or one of those places, when they had a little black girl watching the movie, Little Mermaid. She says, that's not Ariel. Why? And then Mummy goes, why isn't Ariel? Because she's not white. Even the little girl is saying so, like saying, come on. Two wrongs do not make a right. Okay, Hollywood was guilty of whitewashing characters and having white characters play with racial makeup, and even, I say, blackface or Native American face or even Asian face, trying to play those characters. That was dead wrong. But now, and you should really cast the races according to the characters, really. Them trying to flip it the other side by getting all these different minorities, especially black actors playing white characters, doesn't fix, like I say, two wrongs do not make a right. Okay, so there's a bit more to go on with regarding that controversy, but I think the main controversy that was already controversial enough, but that did not help with the main lead actress, actually, Rachel Zegler, wading in and creating additional controversies of her own. Now, back to Snow White, this new live action movie they've done by Disney. And problems all the way from the get-go with that movie. First of all, people heard that firstly, the actress is going to be a Latina. So, and she looks like a Latina, so obviously her skin is not going to be white as snow, and it isn't. The other thing is there's going to be no dwarves. In the movie, they got rid of the dwarves. So now they've replaced it with what they called, they did, 7 magical creatures. Okay, and a still from one of the movie, the behind the scenes, showed that there were these 7 people. There was only like 1 dwarf in there. And there's a mixture of white and black people, with including a black woman. And there was like one tall white guy there with a beard, with a scarf around his head and tied under his chin. I don't know what that he's supposed to be. So I guess they were afraid of offending people, like what they call little people or dwarfs. And I think it all came from Peter Dinklage, who played the dwarf in character in Game of Thrones. And he was criticise, the original story, what you had dwarves living in a cave. Like, come on. So because of that, I guess Disney took his comments to heart and did not cast any dwarfs. So the movie, it's not Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. It's just Snow White and whatever. And I guess now the dwarf community, dwarf actors were up in arms because they've missed out on a chance to star in a big production, Hollywood production. As you can imagine, there's not many roles for dwarf actors and movies having dwarf characters. And so this was almost like a chance of a lifetime for them to star in it. And 7 of them missed out the chance to star in a major production. All because of Peter Dinklage, his comments. I mean, and they're criticising, well, he was all fine and well to play dwarfs before, but then now that he's earned all his checks and cashed it in, he's cut off the chance for other dwarf actors to also earn decent money or potentially big money from it as well. So that was that was the start of it. But not only that, so there was lots of criticism against Disney, because it's no longer going to be Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs like it was in the original animated tale or animated movie. And with the Latina actress now, she actually did not, she actually made the situation worse, Rachel Zegler. I mean, not only she criticized the movie, okay, in some of the interviews that's basically online now you can see, and some of the comments was that she criticized the original movie came out in her words, I think it was like, I'm paraphrasing, 1937, and very evidently so. And it was more based around her love story. Okay, and with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
That was her reaction. And she criticized it, but now, it really dated in terms of women's roles, and the original movie was. Now it's all about women. I guess in that movie, not going to be saved by the prince, as she said. She's going to be the leader that she knows she can be. But hello, that's not a Snow White tale. I mean, if you want to do that, then call it something else. It's not Snow White. The Snow White original tale, yes, it was about true love. She was longing, and Snow White was singing about true love. Like, I think one of the songs was, "One day my prince will come." No, really, Prince may not come for everyone, but I don't think anyone says that they don't want true love. I think in the hearts of people, everyone wants true love. Now, come on, who does not want to be loved? And the way things are going, and it seems out there like wanting true love is a bad thing, not only dated thing, but it disempowers you, disempowers women. Women shouldn't be thinking about love. They shouldn't be thinking about being leaders and so forth. I mean, but how many people want to watch a movie about a girl wanting to be a leader as opposed to wanting to watch a love story or a love movie? Like, come on. Doesn't well, criticism about that, and that she came off as being very entitled with the movie. Like, look, if you've got the lead actress not even disparaging origins of the movie and so forth, what does it mean for it? And so there was lots of flack, and she got a lot of criticism, so much I think she walked back on that. And then I think she got tapped on the shoulder by Disney to say, look, honey, you better say nice things about it. We want positive coverage about it. And then there was a highly curated, carefully constructed interview between her and Hailey Bailey, which was the star of, she played Ariel in the live action of The Little Mermaid. So she's talking about how great, you can say, total contrast to what she said before, how great the original movie was. It was outstanding. It was saying breaking at that time, from the frontier, and she was just so honored now to be playing Snow White and that sort of thing. I mean, total contrast. She did a 180 in terms of comments of what she said in that interview and what she's been saying all along. And so issues with that, and not only that, because of all the criticism, originally it was supposed to have been released, I think, in this year, March 2024, but they put it back a year. Why? Now, because of all the criticism of them getting rid of dwarves and bringing in these 7 magical creatures, so to speak. So they said they were changing it. So when people were hoping they were now going to have actual dwarfs, and they kind of didn't. Instead, they put in CGI dwarfs instead of actually hiring dwarf actors, giving dwarf actors a job. So, and they look so fake. I mean, CGI does cost a lot of money to do. And if you're doing a full movie, it does cost a bit. And so they had to do reshoots. And as I understand it, they're still doing reshoots. They're putting a lot of money doing reshoots on this movie, trying to save it because it's had so much bad publicity. I was trying to change this and this. And another thing still they haven't changed. Look, in the original movie, Snow White obviously escaped from the huntsman that the evil queen sent out to kill her. So she found the house of the 7 dwarfs, and I guess they were nice enough to give her shelter and protection. And in return, she did clean the house for them and cooked for them. Okay, and so it was a way of saying thank you. But I guess for most people, if someone does things for you, you do something nice for them in return, showing how grateful you are. But in this movie, she actually gets the dwarves to do work for her. Not only they gave her shelter, she tells the dwarf, okay, you clean up your room, you do the cooking, and she hands a broom to one of the dwarfs, animated CGI dwarfs, by the way, and you sweep the floor. And she does nothing, as if it was actually some offensive. It's offensive to see a woman actually doing housework. Like now, it's beneath women to do that sort of thing. So, like I think, hang on. You're really denigrating housework and work that women have been doing for thousands of years. What is wrong with housework? Because someone has to do it. But so women, in the case, I guess, their angle, women don't do housework, they're leaders. And I'm not sure how many little girls out there actually want to become leaders. Or women out there actually want to become leaders. If they're like, even with all the opportunities that given women now, I mean, I don't see many women putting their hands up and wanting to be leaders because, well, there is actually a lot involved in being a leader in everything, either corporate or whatever, and political hours, how much dedication you need to do the job, and women have different priorities. Okay. As much as it irks feminists and progressives, by and large, if women are honest to themselves, no, that's not what I want to do. They want to have other things rather do. Okay? And this is coming from a woman. And I might get criticized, and maybe I don't want to become a leader, but other women can. But okay, let's have a show of hands, women, ladies. How many of you want to lead and have the responsibility, make the difficult decisions, have so many people rely on you? Why can't we do what we want? Why force people to be something that they're not and force them to want to be something that they naturally don't want to? Don't we have value as ourselves and things that we naturally are good at? You know, it's valuing people as they are, their skills, their natural skill sets. What's wrong with being a woman at the end of the day? Really? You know, and this entire, they tried to do turn a classic movie and tale into a feminist movie. No, she doesn't want true love. She doesn't do housework. She just wants to be a leader. Okay. And from whatever, and I don't think there really was a prince. I think there's someone named Andrew that acted in limited roles. But what Rachel has said in an interview, who knows, all of Andrew's scenes may get cut. It's Hollywood, baby.
Kind of prince.
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because like we cast a guy in the movie,
right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But
as one of her comments was. And so they're putting so much money into this movie and doing so many reshoots. Can you imagine the cost of it piling up? It's now hundreds of millions of dollars. Last I heard it was like 300 million the cost, but I don't know how much it's climbed to now. And what's happened, there's also issues between the lead actresses. Gal Gadot, as if you're not aware, is an Israeli actress. And Rachel Zegler, at the moment, she's put out some pro-Palestine posts. And there's being, as you know, there's conflict at the moment between Israel and Palestine. And everyone's taking sides. And so evidently there's issues with that. I mean, look, and then there's lots of friction between the actresses. I mean, Gal doesn't want to be seen with Rachel anymore. And that means, well, look, both of them were up for, as part of the contract, I think, doing interviews about the role in the movies. It's part of promoting the movie. And so Gal doesn't want to do interviews with Rachel anymore, even though she's going to lose out monetarily wise. She's not going to be paid if she doesn't do the interviews. But also now because of all the comments Rachel Zegler has said, all the negative comments, I guess Disney has come out, it's decided not to have her do these interviews. And so she's lost money. I mean, Rachel's no longer being paid. I think I've heard reported $3 million extra to do those interviews when they're not going to let her do it. They don't want it to cause, I guess, more problems and create more damage than there already is. I mean, at this point in time, I'm not sure if there's even any point in releasing the movie at all. Why not just can it or have it straight to streaming? Because I'm not sure how many people would bother going to see it. Maybe there's curious people to go and see how bad it actually is. But I don't, and you might have some progressives just that go to see it to make some point. But if it's not going to be follow the original storyline, I don't know how many people are going to be interested, because people have nostalgia of the original movie, and I guess they expect a live action version of the animated movie to actually follow the original storyline. Okay, about romance and love and so forth. So that is one big mess of a movie. And I guess it all started with progressive Disney. And from what I've heard, that Rachel's pretty much been cancelled. They've cancelled her. But whether or not Disney has learned its lesson, I am not sure about that, seeing that reportedly they've hired some person to do DEI. For those that are not familiar, DEI stands for diversity, equity and inclusion, and paying that person $200,000 a year. Officer looking after diversity. So maybe they still haven't learned. And look, they've lost so much money trying to do all this. Like I think the She-Hulk as well bombed and they lost money from that, replacing that, doing female Ghostbusters. I wasn't sure if that was Disney, but no one wanted to watch that either and watch Captain Marvel being a woman. People, look, it just doesn't gel trying to swap putting a female into what people know as a male character. You know, people don't want to see that. They want to watch it as it is. I mean, no one wants a male version of redo Aliens movie and have a male play Ripley. Come on. Expect it to be a female. You know, that sort of thing. It doesn't mean that there's no strong female characters. That's a case in point. If you want to have a strong female character, make a movie specifically showcasing the woman, a new movie. Come on. You have writers for a reason. Be creative. And so forth. So that is one big miss. But I think it's not money really they're concerned with. If they're happy to keep losing money one movie after another, I think it's more of they have an agenda, and I think it's more social engineering. They want us to follow no romance, I guess, and females in male roles. I haven't seen any males in traditional female roles yet, and do race swaps and have us suspend belief and just imagine it. But reality is human nature always rules, and people don't want to see that sort of thing. Now, we are still looking and discussing Rachel Zegler. Okay, star of the new live action Snow White movie that is being steeped in lots of controversies and discussions at the moment, namely anger from traditional Disney fans and fans of the traditional Snow White tale. Because this actress has in quite a few interviews and shown disdain for the original movie, and those words came directly out of her mouth. She was not misquoted or misrepresented. Okay,